All rise. Voulez-vous lever? The International Criminal Court is now in session. L'audience de la Cour pénale internationale est ouverte. Please be seated. Veuillez asseoir.
Thank you very much. Court officer, please, the case.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Republic of Kenya in the case of the prosecutor versus William Samuel Ruto and Joshua Arap Singh. ICC 0109-0111. We are in open session.
Thank you. Appearances?
Morning, Mr. President. Your Honours, appearances remain the same for the prosecution.
Good morning, Mr. President. Your Honours, for the victims, James Mayweather, Amanda Wilmot, and Charlotte Divina, and myself are Nancy. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. Your Honours, Ms. Michelle Bourgeois, duty counsel for the witness.
Good morning, Mr. President. The team for Joshua Arap Singh remains the same, except that Honor Lanham is not here with us today.
Mr. President, Your Honours, good morning. Ms. Lee Laurie of our co-counsel has joined us today. Otherwise, we remain the same as yesterday.
Thank you. Let us go briefly into private session.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Mr. Khan will continue. Witness, welcome back. Mr. Khan will continue his cross-examination in a moment. Ms. Beside?
Indeed, Mr. President. Yesterday, during the last minute of the cross-examination of the Mr. Singh defense team, due to a miscommunication, we gave the wrong EVD number to the document that were played to the witness. Consequently, I wanted to rectify the information I gave yesterday, and I wanted to inform the parties and the participants that the document bearing the number KEN D11 00150120 will bear the number EVD T D11 00077, and the document KEN D11 00190177 will bear the number EVD T D11 00078. The modification have been done under e-court.
Thank you very much. Mr. Khan?
Mr. President, Your Honours, I'm grateful. Witness, good morning.
Good morning.
You'll recall yesterday we were discussing your account, the account you gave the prosecution, regarding your attendance at the Kotelel Samoy Memorial event on the 19th of October 2005. You remember that?
I remember that, Your Honor.
And it's right, is it not, that Kotelel Samoy is a hero in Kenya?
Yes, he is.
He's revered as a very courageous person who fought and lost his life fighting against the British. Is that right?
That is.
And it's also correct, is it not, that he has a special place in the hearts of the Kalenjin community because he himself was a Kalenjin. Isn't that right?
That's right.
And casting your mind back to October 2005, there was some controversy about the event. Do you remember that?
I remember, yes, I remember the controversy.
Mr. President, Your Honours, I refer to tab 26, and if it could be, it's a public document, if it can be put on the screen, Ken D09-0043-0150. And witness, I'm going to put a document on the screen in a moment, and it's from the Daily Nation newspaper, dated Tuesday, October the 18th, 2005. Please see. And I'm going to read a little bit of the article in the bottom right-hand corner, entitled "Leaders Split Over Kibaki's Presence at Kotelel's Fate." And you'll see the first paragraph, and I quote, "Nandi leaders are divided over President Kibaki's presence at tomorrow's centenary celebrations of legend Kotelel Arap Samoy. While one group welcomed the president at the function, another told him to keep off, saying the festival was a purely Nandi affair. Those in opposition are led by Eldoret South MP David Koros, the Reverend Maritim Rirai, R-I-R-E-I, of the Anglican Church of Kenya, Councillors David Getich, William Rotich, Thomas Talam, and Joseph Getich of Kapsabet." And perhaps I can check the spelling. Yes, Thomas Talam, Joseph Getich, that's correct. Now, witness, that's correct, isn't it? That there was some controversy. One group of particularly Kalenjin leaders thought it should be a purely Nandi affair. Do you remember that?
Those are politics, yeah, I can see here.
Yes. And you don't see Mr. Ruto's name there, do you? In that list I've read out, Mr. Ruto is not mentioned as being opposed to President Kibaki's attendance, is he?
I can't see him.
And then going down to the bottom of the page, first column.
You were checking the spelling.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Grateful. And Mr. President, I'm now referring to the document at tab. Well, before I move on, in fact, witness, did you see the report in the newspaper that we previously went through, October the 18th, 2005, regarding leaders split over Kibaki's presence at Kotelel's fate? Do you remember that story?
I cannot remember very well, but I can still remember that there were some things.
But the content of what is said in this document, you recall that is actually reflective of the debate that was taking place at the time, the two camps, as it were.
There was no really two camps. It is like actually they want to take, they have already assumed that Koitalel Day will be a special day for some leaders to endorse some particular leaders to the community. Otherwise, if Kibaki could come, could divert things to change. That's why there were this kind of controversy. So and David Koros actually was in behalf of Ruto, I think so.
And this kind of controversy that's reported in the newspaper,
yes,
that's accurate, is that right?
It can be accurate, but that was not a position. They want to take the Koitalel Day to be their special day to endorse some individual.
And Mr. President, I think there's a correction that's needed to page 11, line 6, which is not a proper record of what the witness actually said. Perhaps I just put it again. So, witness, you accept that the newspaper article that we've gone through is reflective, is an accurate report of the different views that existed amongst the Kalenjin community about President Kibaki's attendance at the Kotelel Samoy event on the 19th of October. Is that right?
I can take that position, but it was not the right that, because Kibaki was a president of the Republic of Kenya.
Mr. President, I'd ask for that document to be exhibited with the court's leave.
Mr. Garcia.
Your Honor, the prosecution objects. The problem that I have with this is that the witness, first of all, doesn't admit or doesn't confirm having read this article at the time, and despite the numerous efforts of Mr. Khan of having him confirm the content of it, the witness has not confirmed that either. So that's the problem that I have, and that's why the prosecution's objecting.
Ms. Passman.
We have no objection.
Mr. Khan.
My response, Mr. President. Mr. President, in my respectful submission, the witness, at least my understanding of the record, it's there in the transcript, is that he said that the report is broadly accurate, although, of course, he gives a different slant as to what really was existing under the surface of that debate. Your Honour, given that he's at least accepted on the surface the accuracy of the report, in my respectful submission, it can be exhibited.
The document is submitted as the next Ruto defense exhibit.
The public document KEN D0900430150 will bear the number EVD T D09000298.
Grateful. And witness, we're going to go to another document now with the court's leave. It's at tab 27, and it's KEN D090043-0153. And while it's being put on the screen, sorry, tab 28, it's my mistake, tab 28. And whilst it's being put on the screen, it's headed, it's from Daily Nation on the web, headed, I quote, Kenya, avoid politics at Kotelel's fate, warn MPs. It's dated the 19th of October 2005. And after a report from Nairobi, and I quote from the first paragraph, President Kibaki should not use today's centenary celebrations of legend Kotelel Arap Samoy to campaign for the banana team, said two MPs yesterday. Mr. Henry Koske and Mr. William Ruto said that the President was welcome to grace the occasion, which will give Mr. Samoy the status of a national hero for resisting British occupation of Kenya. Political speeches should be avoided on the occasion to mark 100 years since the Nandi Lebon was killed by the British, said Mr. Koski, the Tinderet MP. He told the nation by phone, quote, we welcome all people invited, but they should bear in mind that this is a solemn occasion. The Nandi will take great exception to anyone who politicizes the celebrations, end quote. They should not be used by either the orange or banana groups to campaign, said Mr. Ruto, the Eldoret North MP, who however said that President Kibaki was free to attend the occasion on the family's invitation. If the family has welcomed him, we, brackets, the Nandi, close brackets, have no problem. He said, we in the orange camp will be there as invited guests. End of quote. So witness, you recall that Mr. William Ruto had no problem with His Excellency Mwai Kibaki gracing the event. His only point was that no party, banana or orange, nobody should use that occasion for politicking. That's the truth, isn't it?
But they have prepared the ground. That is why the leaders from perceived to be banana group were not allowed during the day, during the particular day. And nobody was allowed to speak if there was anything to do with. And that's why I was saying that Ruto was having a say. That's why Kibaki was allowed to speak. And because he was actually allowing the people to give him some respect. Otherwise, the rest of the leaders who were perceived to be in Panana by then, they were not even allowed to speak as Nandis or either Kalenjins because they were perceived to be the other side.
So, witness, we'll come to that in a moment, but what I'm putting to you is that you have a very distorted view of what took place. And I'll give one example and you can respond to it. Upon what basis do you say that David Koros was acting on behalf of Mr. William Ruto when he was saying that President Kibaki shouldn't come to the event? What's your basis? Guesswork or what?
Not guesswork, because he was an MB and he was an orange supporter by then, and whatever he said could say just to take the point to the ground.
But Mr. Ruto couldn't speak for himself. Is that what you're saying?
No, Mr. Ruto could say, okay, come, but just only for the sake, but only his foot soldiers already talk what is needed in the ground. And that is actually what the people scared.
Witness, you are under oath. That contention that David Koros is doing the bidding of Mr. William Ruto, a fellow backbench MP, is nothing but complete speculation. Isn't that the truth?
I cannot call it speculations, but because he's a leader and Ruto was a national leader by then, it doesn't mean that he was sent by any paper to say that. Anybody can say that, even if Koros was his independent talking, he is already sending the message to the ground on behalf of the orange side.
And just one small issue. Lebon, the word that we mentioned previously, Lebon actually is a spiritual leader. Isn't that right? He's not a political leader. Kotalel Samoy was viewed by the Nandis as a spiritual leader. Isn't that right?
It is right. That's why the people who disrupt that day, I think they have been cast by the same person. Because why do they use this occasion to disrupt the Kotalel day if he was a spiritual leader?
Sorry. You said, witness, that people who disrupted that day had been cast. What was your testimony? Can you repeat what you just said?
Cast, because if they use the occasion, which could be a spiritual, to respect somebody who was actually respected by the community, and they just use politics, whether in direct politics or to disrupt or to stop other leaders who have a right to be the same community, not to speak on the same occasion. That is not respect to the Koitalel Somoy.
What the word you used was
cast.
Cast. Cast. Now, let me also understand what you had said earlier about the binary figures, if I may use that expression, between Mr. Kibaki and Mr. Ruto. Was your point that Mr. Ruto had a say, that he spoke on the occasion, him being on the orange side, because of that, it was viewed as acceptable to have Mr. Kibaki also speak on the occasion because he was on the banana side? I want to understand what you were saying.
Already Ruto has quote in the nation that I have just seen here that he is coming there as welcoming from the orange side. And I know Kibaki was not coming as a banana. He was coming as a national leader. He was not coming as an orange or whatever, or a banana. He was coming as a national leader. And even the leaders who are there, they want to take occasions just to celebrate, but they were not given chance just because they were perceived to be in banana team.
Right?
Yes.
And why did you say it was, why did you say that it was acceptable or it was accepted that Mr. Ruto also spoke?
Yeah. During his time, Ruto convinced the community to give Mr. Kibaki respect. That's why Kibaki was actually given a chance to speak without any interference. He was, in fact, he was so hungry about what happened in that occasion.
He was so angry.
Kibaki himself.
Right, I'll leave it there. Mr. Ken, please proceed.
Your Honor, if I may simply, at page 15, line 5, I believe, it's inaudible. Perhaps that should be cleared up. I think the witness said foot soldier, but I'm not so sure about that.
What line?
15, page 15, line 5. But only his, and I think he referred to foot soldier.
Yes, he did refer to
And
foot,
I think that should
soldiers.
be put in the record. And obviously, curse, the word curse appears at line 21 instead of cast. At line 6, at page 16, line 1, cast as well should be curse. And at lines 8 and 9, every time the word cast appears, it should be curse.
I'm grateful. Witness, did you see a segment of the crowd be cursed that day?
Yes, I was there.
Can you describe the curse? Did you see a curse being cast on people in the crowd?
I'm saying if, as a Nandi, if you disrupt, then you are already cast because actually you disrupt Laiboni, which is you call also a spiritual leader, which was supposed, that thing that happened that particular day could not be good for anybody who was having respect to the Koitalel, Samoy, should not, even whether he was young or whatever, all people in the should go there to respect that particular day.
Witness, once again, it's useful sometimes just to listen to the question. Sometimes an explanation is helpful and sometimes an answer can be yes or no. Did you see a curse being cast on part of the crowd on the 19th of May, 19th of October 2005? Did you see it or not?
No.
So that is complete speculation on your part, isn't it, that there was a curse?
I didn't say there was a curse on the particular day. I'm saying whoever done that is cursed because they didn't do the right thing. The people who do the wrong thing at that particular day.
And witness, again, you are, of course, under oath, and that's why I'm asking you to just to take your time and think carefully. You have no evidence about a curse ever being cast upon people who attended the 19th of October event, do you?
I think the understanding, Mr. Ken, is that the witness was giving his own views as to whether or not the curse resulted or would or should result to be the consequence of people politicizing the event. There should be a reverent religious affair.
I'm most grateful. So witness, just one.
Line 7, the word was reverent, not reverend.
I'm grateful. Mr. President, I'd ask to exhibit the document that we've just referred to. It's at tab 28.
Mr. Garcia.
Once again, Your Honor, prosecution objects. The witness did not confirm having read this document, and I think he's explicitly disconfirmed the content in it. Actually, he hasn't confirmed it. I don't see that on the record. One question was put to him. The witness answered. The witness did not confirm the content on this document.
Ms. Weissman.
We do not object.
Mr. Can reply.
Mr. President, I don't see anywhere in the witness's testimony where he said he disconfirmed or he denied that the contents.
The document is admitted as the next in the Ruto defense exhibits.
The public document KEN D0900430153 will bear the number EVD T D09000299.
And witness, you also said, I think today, and you also said to the prosecution, that a time came in that event when William Ruto intervened during President Kibaki's speech. Do you remember saying that?
I'm saying at the time, Mr. Ruto gave an advice to the group that they should give Kibaki a respect.
And that was during the speech of President Kibaki, is that right?
During, I think by that time, I can't remember exact the time he was talking about that, but he was, yeah.
And just for the record, Your Honour, that's at tab 3 of the prosecution's file at 0427. And you also told the prosecution, when you were interviewed, that Mr. Ruto said to the crowd and to President Kibaki that we are together, quote, we are together, but people will not vote for the Constitution. Do you remember saying that?
I said some of the words that Mr. Ruto was talking in Swahili was actually good words, but some of the words that he was talking in Kanandi were inciting. That's what I put it.
No, but witness, I'm not talking at this stage about good or bad words. I'm asking, do you remember, otherwise I can show you the transcript.
Yes, yes.
Do you remember telling the prosecution that Mr. Ruto spoke about the Constitution?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that your account to the prosecution was that Mr. William Ruto told the audience and President Kibaki we're not going to vote for the Constitution.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's your account, isn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. President, with your court's leave, I'd ask to play a video, KEN D09-0043-0238. And witness, if you can watch this carefully, and then I'll ask you some questions.
Mr. Khan, is the video public?
Yes, the video is public, and in fact, we can play from 2 minutes and 8 seconds, in fact. Actually, Mr. President, on second thoughts, perhaps it's not much at the beginning. Maybe right from the beginning it should be played. It's only another few seconds. So.
Do we have a transcript? Do you indicate where
Yes, it's at tab 31 of the defence first binder. The RN again is Ken D09-0043-0482. And I'm happy to give a copy of the transcript and translation to the witness as well, if it's of help. Witness, I think for the time being, just keep that there with you. You can close it, witness, and firstly watch the screen.
Okay.
And then your full attention is on what's spoken on the video. So we can play from the beginning, please.
Wakoloni walipoingia hapa, watu wa Nandi wakakataa katakata na wakoloni. Historia inasema kulikuwako na expeditions, punitive expeditions 11. Mwisho Mheshimiwa Rais iliongozwa na huyo Colonel Richard Menesagen, wakaona waweke sisi hapa. Historia Mheshimiwa Rais nitafupisha. Tangu hapo.
You can just be stopped there for a moment. Witness, you recall this is a video of the event on the 19th of October 2005. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And we are paused it now at timestamp 45 seconds for the record, and we can continue playing, please.
Nyamazeni. Tangu hapo wakati watu wetu walipokwenda kule, na baada ya wale ambao walikuwa naishi Uasin Gishu, wengine wakatawanyika wakaenda Laikipia. Richo ambaye ni ndugu yetu, we are the elder brother there.
Sorry, if we can go back a moment and then just pause it. So we're just the next frame, please.
Richo.
So we're paused at timestamp 1 minute and 34 seconds. Witness, do you recognize the gentleman with the blue striped tie on the front of left of that photograph, of that still?
Yes, I remember.
And who is that person?
It's the Honorable, the late, then Minister for Internal Security, Honorable Michoki.
Yes, I'm grateful. If you can continue playing, please.
Ambaye ni ndugu yetu, we are the elder brother there. Tumekuja pia kwa wingi. Aje kusema.
If we can pause it there. Witness, if you can pay special attention, the man in the red tie at the front, that's Mr. William Ruto. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you see behind him, just behind him and to the right, a very good-looking gentleman with a bald head like me? If you keep your eye on him and see if you can recognize who it is, please. If you can keep playing.
Which one? Huh?
Just behind. He's wearing a blue and white T-shirt, it seems like, or shirt. Just behind the gentleman next to Mr. William Ruto. So look to the right of Mr. William Ruto. You'll see a man in a blue suit and a white tie. And behind him, one row behind, you see a man currently looking to one side. And we'll play it, and you can see as he moves, if you can recognize who it is. You recognize that person as Maina Kiai?
I can see.
And you agree that person is Maina Kiai, sitting almost immediately behind Mr. William Ruto?
I agree.
Thank you. If you can keep playing, please. And that's a timestamp, 1 minute and 46 seconds. Thank you.
Mtukufu Rais, mtukufu kwako kuja Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri yetu ya Kenya, Mama Lucy Kibaki, mawaziri walio hapa, wabunge wenzangu, wageni kutoka sehemu mbalimbali, biikab kutitab Kalenjin, chamgei. Chamgei kokeny. Mheshimiwa Rais, tunakukaribisha hapa kama rais wetu kwa hii sherehe ya kumkumbuka kiongozi wetu shujaa Koitalel Samoei Arap Turugat, ambaye kwa kutetea haki ya watu wetu alipoteza maisha yake. Sisi tungependa mzee huyu, kiongozi wetu shujaa, apewe heshima inayomtosha kiongozi ambaye alipoteza maisha yake akipigania haki ya wananchi. Tunataka historia iandikwe sawa sawa, ili mahali pa watu ambao walijitoa kiasi cha kupoteza maisha yao wapewe nafasi yao ya kutambuliwa kwa heshima na kwa maisha yao waliotoa kwa niaba yetu sisi, ili taifa letu liwe huru na Kenya hii yetu iwe taifa. Biikab Kalenjin, ameche osisye asikobit kengalal. Unoto ongigatkei, ongigatkei eng eut biikab Kalenjin. Ameche amwa kuni ak ameche oib choit. Kakibwa yu ra kutitab chego biikab Kalenjin, kengete Kipsigis ole ngolul ketit koitu Simamek Nandi. Ongete keyo ole kilen tumdanyo manaichi naikeyo. Ongete tugen ole mi biik chok chebo Aror ak Lembus chemabendi kandaras. Ongete Merkwete agoi Kimugon ole ngoro tany kobune ng'uny. kotab ne anyun duluap kony kap kugo ole kikibunu achek tugul ak nandi anyun ne makimaleje musar kosom ak biikab kutit koek pani kakibwa yu eng betutab rani ne kakibwa nyekekat kugo kandoindenyo Samoei koek panda nekituitosi keeku kit agenge kouyo ki lagokab chito agenge. Kosom ak biikab Kalenjin asikobit koek pani kakibwa yu taunet nebo ngalalet ak kibagenge nebo chitab kutit eng yemi ak eng yeboch. Kongoi Samoei koitalel arap turugat neketuiyo surumbetab Kalenjin kot koek kit agenge eng betutab rani. Ko makimuchi kemwa kosiryo eng betutab rani amu ongen ole kitinye toek tun betut age ko malat kot nekemwa. Kongoi.
If it can be stopped there, please. And we stopped it at 7 minutes and 56 seconds. 7 minutes and 58 seconds. Witness, that was Mr. William Ruto speaking, wasn't it?
He was.
Now you have a transcript in front of you, and if you could please go through it as I'm reading. And I read from Ken D09-0043-0482 at 0483, starting from lines 27.
Mr. Ken, as you do that, is it the case that Mr. Ruto, during that speech, spoke in both Kiswahili and Kalenjin?
Indeed.
Is that the case?
Indeed.
All right. While you read the transcript, tell us when he's speaking in what language.
Indeed, I'm grateful. Witness, I'm reading on the document you have, 0483, at lines 27, and it's a translation of what Mr. William Ruto said in Swahili, and I quote, "Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, First Lady Lucy Kibaki, Cabinet Ministers who are present, fellow Members of Parliament, visitors who have come from all other areas." Is that a correct translation of what Mr. William Ruto said, witness?
It is, yeah.
At 2 minutes and 39 seconds, at line 31, Mr. William Ruto then speaks in Kalenjin. Is that right? Witness?
Yes, yeah.
And the translation of that at lines 33, and I quote, "The Kalenjin people, greetings to you." End quote. Witness, is that a proper record of what Mr. Ruto said? I'm sorry?
Yes, yeah.
And at line 39, again, Mr. William Ruto says, and I quote, "Greetings to you again." Do you see that? Sorry, could you repeat your answer, please?
Say yes.
And it's a translation from Kalenjin, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
And at 43, for a third time, Mr. William Ruto gives his greetings, and I quote, "Greetings to you," end quote. That's also a proper translation of what Mr. William Ruto said in Kalenjin. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you go to the next page, witness, at the top of the page, between lines 45 and 48, you see Mr. William Ruto speaking in Swahili, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at lines 49, he says, and I quote, "Your Excellency the President, we welcome you here as our President during this memorial of our hero, Kotelel Samoei Arap Turgat, who lost his life fighting for the rights of our people. We would like this great man, our leader, a hero, to be given all the respect that he deserves, a leader who lost his life fighting for the rights of the citizens," end quote. Witness, is that a proper translation of what's recorded in the Swahili?
Yes.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please? Could you repeat the answer? I think the microphone. No, it's fine. And you see the crowd applauding at line 54, and then between lines 56 and 58, Mr. Ruto is also continuing to speak in Swahili. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And he says this, and I quote at lines 59, quote, "We would like history to be well written, so that people who sacrificed their lives for us should be given a chance to be honored in order for our country to be independent, and this Kenya to sovereign state," end quote. Is that a true translation of the preceding words in Swahili?
Yes, it's direct.
And after that, you'll see at line 63, square brackets, Kalenjin, and at line 64 to 65, what's written there is Kalenjin, isn't it?
Yes.
And at line 67 and 68, Mr. Ruto says this, doesn't he? Your Honor, before I go there, I'm told at line 67, yes. Your Honor, at line 67, and I quote, Mr. Ruto says this, "Kalenjin people, I want you to be quiet." Your Honor, it says quiet, but it's clearly a typo. "Kalenjin people, I want you to be quiet so we can talk, okay? Let us greet each other by waving our hands, Kalenjin people." Witness, with the correction I've put of quiet, "Kalenjin people, I want you to be quiet so we can talk, okay? Let us greet each other by waving our hands, Kalenjin people." Is that a proper translation of the preceding words in Kalenjin?
It is.
And you will recall you saw waving on the video as Mr. Ruto said that. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then at line 70 and to 73, again, that's in Kalenjin, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at 75, line 75 of page 0484, Mr. Ruto says this, and I quote, "I would like to say this, and I want you all to pay attention. Today we are gathered here, the people of milk, we, the Kalenjin people, from Kericho, where when a tree falls, the impact can be felt here in Nandi, from Keo, where their circumcision rights are never disclosed to anyone apart from the Keos," end quote. Witness, that's a true translation of the preceding words, isn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then at line 80 to 82, again, that's Kalenjin, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at lines 84, the translation is this, and I quote, "From Tugan, with our people from Arua. From Tugan, with our people from Arua, A-R-O-O-R, and Lembus, who never slave for anyone, from Marakwet to Pokot, where when they see a cow they crawl. What about our people from Mount Elgon, the place for our grandfathers, where we all came from, and Nandi, who you cannot show contempt?" A witness, is that a true translation of the preceding sentences?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you can turn over the page, please.
Witness, if at any point you are unsure, and you also want to listen to or watch the video again, indicate that need. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And over the page at 0485, so Ken D09 0043-0485, you see between lines 89 to 91, what's written is Kalenjin, is that right?
80?
89 to 91, that's Kalenjin, isn't it? At the top of the page.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the translation starts at line 93, and I quote, I would like to urge you all...
So, 1 second. So the question marks in front of the numbers, that may be what caused the hesitation, would be in the 90s, isn't it? There should be 9s. In the line numbers, mine...
Sorry, Your Honour, in mine there's no question marks.
Really?
Could I...
In mine at page 4, we have, it looks like the letter 9 appears to have been, the figure 9 appears to have been systematically replaced by the question mark in a box.
Mr. President, I'm told it's the PDF printing that's contorted the text. So it's not in my copy. Perhaps we can give you a clean copy that doesn't have that computer
it doesn't matter
mutilation.
because I see on the screen that problem is not there.
Yes. Pass it up.
It's okay.
I'm grateful. So, Mr. President, with your leave, I'll read the translation starting at line 93, and I quote, I would like to urge you all, let this step that we have taken today in coming here to pay respect for our grandfather, our leader Samoei, be the beginning of us uniting together and becoming one like the children of one parent, end quote. Witness, is that a true translation of the preceding 3 lines in Kalenjin?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at line 97, William Ruto to 99, Mr. William Ruto is still speaking in Kalenjin, isn't he?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at lines 101, I'll read the translation and I quote, I urge you Kalenjin people, so that our coming here today be the beginning of our talks and unity for the Kalenjins who are gathered here and wherever they are. We thank Samoei Kotalel Arab Turgat for joining together the umbilical cord of all the Kalenjins to become one this day, end quote. Witness, is that a true translation of what's preceding it?
Witness, you say it is?
Yes, it is correct.
Yes, I'm grateful. And then at lines 105 to 106, once again, that's Kalenjin, isn't it?
Yes.
And Mr. William Ruto at 108 to 109 is saying, and I quote, we cannot talk beyond this today because we have visitors. We will talk another day when we are alone. Thank you, end quote. Is that a true translation? Witness, perhaps you can just speak into the microphone so that the court reporters can pick up your answer. Your answer was, it is. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you saw that after those last words of Mr. Ruto, thank you, that was the end of his speech, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So, a witness, there was no mention in this speech about the Constitution, was there?
Maybe it was headed. I cannot remember.
Sorry, can you repeat your answer? I asked you, there was no mention of the Constitution, was there?
According to these things, but I remember he talked about it.
There's no mention about guns, is there?
Where did I say mention about guns?
Witness, just answer my question. Is there any mention of guns?
No, even my testimony, I didn't have guns.
There's nothing there that's inciting, is there?
I'm saying he was talking in a manner giving the strong word encouraging every community to be one, using their terms, which is, I can call it in a Kalenjin, Jirsit, to give them courage.
Witness, I went through yesterday many pages of transcripts in which you repeatedly said Mr. William Ruto was inciting the crowd. You didn't hear anything inciting here, did you?
I'm saying it was inciting language. That's why there was nothing like, even the other group was not given time to talk.
Witness, leave aside your view of fairness and other groups having a speech and having airtime or talk time. Just try and focus on my question. We've played the speech of Mr. William Ruto on the 19th of October 2005. Will you agree with me, after having watched the video and gone through the translation, that there's nothing inciting that he said? Would you agree with me or not?
No.
You don't agree?
Yes.
Okay. What is inciting?
There are so many words here in Kalenjin, which give some strong words to the Kalenjin words.
Can you point, have a look at the transcript. What is inciting?
What line?
What line?
I can't remember. It was talking about Nandis.
You've got a document in front of you. Please refer us to the line numbers and we'll go through it.
Between line 86 to 87.
Lines 86 to 87. And what's the phrase?
In Nandi.
And you think that's inciting?
It is.
Chemusa is porridge, isn't it?
Something you cannot, that's, maybe I'm having a wrong translations, but somebody, if you tell somebody, Chemusa is somebody you cannot joke with.
Chemusa, let's take it step by step.
That is
because
direct translations.
The judges want to try to understand
yes.
your testimony as against the transcript and the translation, which you agree is correct. Chemusa is porridge, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And it's a normal Kalenjin phrase, isn't it? That a Nandi, even a Nandi child, you cannot wipe the porridge off the child's face. That's a normal phrase, isn't it?
But that's the way you put it simply because you are not a Nandi. But the word itself is you are giving somebody courage.
Would you agree with me that's a normal proverb in Kalenjin, that even with your children,
but
you say, sorry witness, let me finish, that you say even to Nandi children, and it's a saying about Nandis, that even a Nandi child, you can't wipe the porridge off the child's face. Is that right?
If you go to a group of people who are already charged and tell them you are Nandis who are not being somebody, I cannot put it directly. If somebody who cannot be choked with.
Witness.
Mr. Ken, 1 second. What a witness is communicating is that those words of praise have a tendency to charge up the people who are the subjects of the praise. Is that what you're saying, witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Grateful.
So, Your Honor, if I may, I think that record needs to be corrected in certain regards. I think the witness has said twice, somebody who cannot be, it reads choked with, but I think it's joked with. And at page 31, line 7, another matter needs to be also put on the record. And I think it was edited and not headed that the witness spoke about. That was his answer to Mr. Khan's question.
Mr. President, I don't need to revisit it because I put the interpretation and the witness agreed with it. Witness, let me go through the extracts that I read yesterday. And for my learned friend, I'm looking at page 96 of yesterday's transcript. And I read out between lines 19 to 24 your account to the prosecution, Mr. Witness. And you said that Mr. Ruto encouraged people to continue that struggle and fight for our rights, he told people to be ready. And at 1289, yeah, to be ready to fight for the land because foreigners were in good numbers in the area. Witness, those words are never said by Mr. William Ruto. Would you agree with me?
If I can recall, he said maybe it was edited, but I cannot confirm here.
Well, witness, leave your speculation about editing. Just let's talk about the video that we've given to the judges and the court. And we say it's the full video, the unedited video as far as Mr. Ruto's speech is concerned. There's nothing about foreigners, is there?
Your Honor, we object to that manner of putting the question to the witness. The witness has replied twice to certain elements that are not found on this video that has been played. And the witness has said that maybe there was editing because he remembers something of that nature. So I understand that the video is being put by the defense to a prosecution witness. There is no evidence on the record for the moment of the fact that it's complete, that it is full. We just have a chain of custody and we have defense counsel leading evidence in that regard. I think we need to be fair with the witness. If the question is simply what this video that has been showed to the witness and to confirm that nothing appears of that matter, well then that should be it, and not actually have the premise in the question that the video is full, that it is complete, and that it's not there, and then that the witness has to explain that absence.
Is that what Mr. Ken was asking? If you look at line 6, it says, leave your speculation about editing, but a video that we've given to the judges and the court, and the full video. I see the difficulty, yes. Mr. Ken, you need to rephrase.
Yes. Witness, my question is quite simple. You've listened to a video, have you not?
I have.
On that video, did you hear anything about Mr. Ruto talking about foreigners?
To the extent that you've just seen the video played to you, that is the limit of that question.
That is what I can hear.
So, witness, try to answer the question. As I said, sometimes yes or no can be a proper answer. Let me refer you to my question yesterday, page 96 of yesterday's transcript. You said, and he encouraged people to continue that struggle and fight for our rights. He told people to be ready. Yeah, to be ready to fight for the land because foreigners were in good numbers in the area, unquote. Nothing like that was said on the video you've just heard. Isn't that right?
On the video, but I remember him saying.
See, I put it to you, witness, that you're so jaundiced and so adamantly insistent to stick to your previous narrative that you're absolutely unwilling to speak the truth to this court. Isn't that right?
I object, Your Honor. That's argumentative.
Objection sustained.
Let's go to another area, witness. You said yesterday, I read out yesterday at page 97, at lines 15 of the transcript, that, and I quote, and this call upon the Sabaot to get rid of the Luyas, to get rid of them from the province. Mr. Ruto said nothing, did he, about Luyas in that speech that you've just heard?
I didn't hear it be here.
Well, do you want to hear it again, or do you accept he said nothing about Luyas in the speech you've just heard and in the transcript you've just read?
But according to my recollections, I still remember it.
He didn't even talk about the Sabayot people, did he?
Google.
Now let me move on, witness.
Can you give that answer? Again, witness.
When Sabaot is speak from coin.
Now listen, what we want to get on record, which is not there, because it appears as inaudible, is when the lawyer said he didn't even talk about the Saboad people, did he?
Yeah.
You responded. What was your response?
I've said he talked about big up to Luapcon, which is people from Mount Elgon.
Well, Mr. President, in fact, I withdraw that question, in fact, because I spoke in error in any event.
Witness, this I should have asked you earlier, but did you use the expression Jessit? Earlier on, did you say that, did you use the word Jessit?
I can...
Jessit when you were talking about the praise?
Jessit. Yes.
Was that what you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you spell that?
C-H-E-R-S-E-E-T.
C-H-E-R-S.
Double E-D.
E-D.
Yes.
And what do you say that means?
Jessit. To encourage people to be strong.
All right, thank you. Ms. Can proceed.
Witness, Mr. Ruto didn't say anything about Kikuyus in that speech, did he?
According to here, could say it, he was not referring to Kikuyus as what I have said earlier, saying Taik Wage to visitors.
In fact, the only mention of visitors or guests is right at the end, at line 108, when Mr. Ruto says, we can't talk beyond this today because we have visitors. It's right, isn't it, that President Kibaki doesn't speak Kalenjin? Isn't that right?
But he had the Mamalat court. So when he said that the house is not smeared, that we cannot talk much that particular day, because, yeah, you could not talk much because it was in a public, maybe that way.
Yeah, maybe that way, but I'm saying, witness, what Mr. Ruto was saying is that it's rude to speak in the presence of the head of state in a language he doesn't understand, so we can speak no more today in Kalenjin. Isn't that what Mr. Ruto was saying?
No, when you say Mamalat court, that say you cannot talk anything. When you say Mamalat court in Nandi, to mean that you cannot talk something something secretive when the visitor is there. But you can talk, but because he was talking in a Nandi.
So none of this that we've seen in the video and that we've read in the transcript is about Mr. Ruto inciting people to kill or expel Kikuyus or Luyas. Would you agree with me?
If I can see this, but what I have said inciting language is still inside this in this document, which I refer. If I can still remember what I talked with the prosecution, I talk about every community. That is what actually is reflected here.
So what you describe as inciting are words that have an effect on the crowd. Is that what you call inciting, witness?
Yes, it's direct word which has been used for a long time ago, describing. Yes, Your Honor.
So old proverbs, in other words. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, apart from these old proverbs, or in fact including these old proverbs, there's nothing that Mr. Ruto said about kicking out Kikuyus or Luyas from the North Rift. Isn't that right, witness?
I'm saying, Your Honor, if I remember, according to my regulations, that's what I have also said earlier, that this is some of the things I heard regarding.
Witness, I'm trying to get your answers for the record regarding what you've just heard and what you've read. Mr. Ruto doesn't say anything about protecting the land, does he?
If, according to this document, it didn't talk about the land.
Yes, and Mr. Ruto doesn't say anything about getting rid of Kikuyus, does he?
I'm saying on this thing, I'm not saying according to my testimony.
Witness, that your testimony, please rest assured, will be properly evaluated by the judges. I'm asking you about what you've heard on the video and what you've read. There's nothing about Mr. Ruto telling the crowd lawyers should be kicked out. Nothing like that, is there?
I was standing that he was inciting the public, the collection.
Is there anything in the video we've just watched and in the transcript we've just heard about kicking lawyers out of the North Rift? There's not, is there, witness?
But I cannot remember that side, which I say I've already put my indications earlier, Your Honor. Let's put that question to rest, because I've already said that there were some words that you used that inciting.
Witness, there's no words in this transcript about kicking lawyers or Kikuyus or foreigners out. Isn't that the truth?
I object, Your Honor. This is becoming argumentative. I think the witness has clearly stated, well, he stated on a couple of occasions that there's a distinction as to what he's heard, what he's read in the transcript, and what his recollections are of that event. Those are two things that the witness keeps on coming back with. So I think he is confirming, and I think it's argumentative to the extent that we can all read what is in that transcript and what is not in that transcript. So I don't think the witness needs to confirm that over and over.
Mr. President, the prosecution's talked previously about fairness to the witness. We talk about fairness to the accused. The witness should not be allowed to sidestep and evade very straightforward questions by meandering, and we have a right, we say, to press the witness. It's a very straightforward question. Is there anything about lawyers or Kikuyus in the transcript or in the video? And we are entitled, we say, to an answer, Mr. President.
You're entitled to an answer, but there comes a point where you have to move on. When you've covered the field, and move on and decide what to leave to argument.
Mr. President, in that case, just two questions before the break with your leave. Mr. Witness, there's nothing in this speech you've just heard and the transcript you've just read about Mr. Ruto telling subgroups to defend the borders of their communities. Nothing about that, is there? To defend the borders against Kikuyus, for example.
I can say that in this document, I cannot see that.
And nothing in the video?
Yes, Your Honor.
In fact, what Mr. Ruto's speech was about was the need for the Kalenjin community to be united and be together. Isn't that right?
Under him.
He doesn't say that, does he, witness, at all?
It was already, this is selective document. That's what I'm saying. It is, actually, if it was put the entire group, and then we could have, I remember some of the things which I cannot see here.
Mr. President, we'll leave it there for now.
I'm grateful.
For the morning break. We'll be back in 30 minutes. We'll go into closed session to usher the witness out of the courtroom.